So I'm your webinar host, Dan Levy, joined by AI and data strategist, Muan Shen. This webinar is an extension, wrong way. Hey, Muan. This webinar is an extension of the Future of Now universe brought to you by More Space for Light. And the goal with this and the future of now, and always been, is to inspire you to explore new ways of working and opportunities for growth. And that leads us into how today came about. I was running a workshop for More Space and I met Muan. We were peacocking. Thanks for the wave. We were peacocking regarding cool things we knew about AI, the latest things that were happening. I think there was some sort of big change. Anyway, Muan quickly trumped me and he showed me something he'd been messing around with to demonstrate how he's been bringing AI together in his organization to make it super accessible in a fun way. Because a lot of people switch off when they see this technology and it just goes straight into the too hard or let me delegate this to somebody else. What we really want to demonstrate today and through this session is that it isn't that hard and it's worth having a curious mindset and it is of value exploring. So we're going to be creating a Christmas animation because it's very close to the holiday season. And as we were talking about earlier, people are starting to wind down. So why not harness that space and time, that headspace into creating something amazing? And I thought this was awesome, what Muan done. Pretty simple, what he created. And I believe that you will as well. So here we are today, 3 weeks later. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to demonstrate a holiday themed project where we'll create a video animation by connecting multiple free AI tools. And these, I'm hoping you'll be able to take a step back and see what and how we've applied the logic of breaking something down, not thinking about the technology, but thinking about what we're trying to achieve at each stage, and then finding the tools in order to wrap them all together. There is a worksheet. I will share it at the end of the session. You can email or DM me and I'll share it with you. Don't worry, I won't put you on a list. I'll just share it with you. So, Muan, this is a hands-on session, so we're going to get straight into it. We're going to skip the intro. Anyone that was kind enough to be here at the beginning would know how smart you are when we were talking about astrophysics and time travel. So what are the tools we're going to be using today?
Thank you, Dan, and thanks to More Space for Light for inviting me here, and thanks everybody for joining us. So we're going to dive straight into it. Let me start by sharing my screen so you can see what I'm doing.
How about the tools, man? What are the tools we'll be using today? Just in case people want to start putting these in their browser.
That's right. Yes. So we are looking at 4 AI tools and 1 non-AI tool today. So to begin with, we are going to be playing in Microsoft Copilot. And then we're going to be switching to Pika.art for generating videos. We're going to be creating some narrations and sound effects using 11 Labs. And we're going to give it a soundtrack, with music and instrumental track and things like that using Suno.com. So all of these things, as Dan mentioned, are free for us to sign up and use. Obviously, you do have to put in your email and account details, but none of them ask for a credit card so far. So obviously, many of them do have subscription plans, premium plans, and things like that, but they all provide some way of allowing you to use it for free.
So I pop those in the chat, so they'll appear shortly. And also, just a disclaimer: when you start entering any kind of AI, any kind of information into any of these AI tools, especially from a work computer, make sure you seek permissions. Make sure you speak to your ICT manager or whoever is in charge of what your policies are around AI. I just wanted to get that disclaimer out the way before you just jump on there.
Yep.
All right, back to you, buddy.
Great point, Dan. Thank you. So to begin with, we're going to start here in Microsoft Copilot. So if you want to know how to access that, the easiest way is if you go to bing.com, so Microsoft search engine, and you see Copilot at the top. And when you click that, it takes you to the Bing, to the Copilot interface, which is what I've got here. So it's a chatbot. So if you've used Claude or ChatGPT before. Same idea. You put your message at the bottom, and here's some I've written last time. So we're going to start by asking the AI to help us create some scenes, right? Because we're trying to build a video. So what I've got here says, let's get creative. It's Christmas season. I'd like for us to brainstorm an idea for a little animation about elves at the North Pole making toys at Santa's workshop. Give me some text descriptions, please. 3 scenes, 1 sentence for each scene, and center them on landscape or 1 character, and keep the descriptions of motions to a minimum. I'll briefly go into why I wrote certain things in the prompt. All right, so first of all,
you're one step ahead of me. I was going to ask, like, what is some of the logic behind your thinking of the prompt?
Yes, thank you. So as some of you may know, Copilot can do text response as well as generate images. So I capitalized text to make it clear, like really stressing on it that I don't want an image right away. I just want a text description of each of the scenes, and then we'll get into the images afterwards as a second step, right? Otherwise, it might get too sort of enthusiastic and start making pictures for you right away. We don't yet want those. So we want 1 sentence for each scene because we're going to do narrations. And because of how long each narration might be for each of the scenes, you want to keep that short. So it's going to be 1 sentence each scene. As to why, the wording around landscape or 1 character is going to be pretty obvious when we get to the video generation part of it. And that's just because the technology is not quite there yet to make complex scenes where multiple characters are moving around and still, keep the scene to something that's sensible. So when you have multiple characters, typically what can happen is they can merge together. They can do things that are a bit nonsensical. So you want to keep it to something a bit simple for the AI to generate. And lastly, keep the motion to a minimum. That's the same idea here. You basically don't want to challenge the AI too much on creating video. So let's have a look at what they came back with. So workshop exterior, twinkling North Pole light, that sounds pretty good. Elves at work and Santa reviewing the toy. So looks good to me. Dan, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it looks good. I was just wondering, how come you're so polite to Bing?
Being polite never hurts, right? I don't think that there hasn't been much research into whether politeness helps generate a higher quality response, but I'd like to think it does, because that's what we do to each other, right? And in theory, the AI is emulating human output as it learns. And so therefore, in theory, it's training data where people have been polite to each other, should be higher quality data. And if you're tapping into that learning data, you should be getting better responses. Pure conjecture in that sense.
Well, I find just being a bit more polite helps me in the way that I construct my prompts as well. Because when you're lazy and you use shorthand, you don't always get the results you want. For me, anyway.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Okay.
So we're going to be pretty polite. So I've just copied that using the copy button there, and then we're going to start a new text file. You can use any note-taking app you'd like. I'm just using Notepad because it's easily accessible here on a Windows system. All I've done is copy this in here because I'm going to come back and reuse this as we go through the whole process. So now that we have our 3 scenes, we're going to start generating some images. So I'm just copying the description of the first scene. We're going to come back here. I'll give it a thumb up to say I liked it and say, great. Could you please draw for me this scene? So this is my usual sort of template for creating images. I like to put like the description of the scene in quotes in the prompt, but also I've got some standard go-to additions to that prompt to describe the style of the image and what particular things to watch out for the AI when generating. Right? So over here, I've said children's book illustration style. I've chosen to go with a style that's, colored pencil sketches, should be quite good looking. Warm and cozy, no borders or frames, because sometimes it tries to generate things that looks like a greetings card or a title screen or things like that. It puts some fancy frames around it. So we don't want that in this case.
So just a disclaimer with this, for those people that are listening, this has come, these extra prompts in regards to styling have come from a result of multiple iterations and just learning. And it's a really good practice anyway to start saving your prompts and start thinking about the construction of your prompts, just in terms of getting that consistency throughout your image generation. That would be correct, wouldn't it, Moen?
Yes, Dan, that's a great point. Each image generation AI actually have some preferences of their own when it comes to style descriptions and things like that. So if you're more familiar with Midjourney, for example, where you're more familiar with Stable Diffusion, that can call for a different style of prompting. There's additional things that the AI knows to watch out for, which in this case, we don't have those ones. But these have always worked well for me in Copilot. Feel free to try other styles. Obviously, anything you can think of in terms of artists, in terms of like movements, like minimalistic or impressionistic, those things do tend to work. So as you can see here, that's followed it pretty well, I want to say. It's a nice little workshop. You can see the lights. It's, most of it looks sensible, makes sense. The reindeer looks like a reindeer and the little Santa looks like a Santa.
It's cool you're doing that all in, sorry, man, I'm just going to say it's cool you're just doing that in one platform, Copilot. You're just doing images and you're just doing text. So you don't have to do a lot of switching.
That's right. So Copilot is good for this, and you can iterate on the description. You don't have to take it as it is. I'm just going to download this one first so that we can put it away for use. Just working with multiple screens here.
Yeah, and I'm assuming that if you wanted to edit or update that image, you could change the aspect ratio. You could change the number of stars. You could even change the what's in it, like change the angle of the house, the style of the house, so a bit more gothic.
Yeah. Absolutely. So let's have a play with that, right?
Yeah, let's do it for fun.
Let's make this a gothic architectural style.
Maybe inspired by Saw. We've got adults here, so we don't have to worry about ratings.
Well, that'll certainly be okay for our audience, but I'm not sure if it's okay for Copilot's content safety filter. We'll see.
Okay.
It hasn't quite gone fully gothic, has it?
No.
Really gothic.
I like the way you wrote that in caps as well, just for extra emphasis.
Yes. That's right.
I feel like we need a drum roll here.
Yeah, but see how the AI was able to keep context, right? I didn't say anything beyond really gothic, and it's kept the entire conversation thread going, right? So it knows what I'm trying to do, and it's not just, create a gothic image. It's about creating a gothic version of what we've been trying to do. I think what's happening here is that some of the, how much of an architectural expert are you in understanding if this is gothic or not?
I'm not going to pretend because this is live, so it's recorded forever. But not really. I think the tension's coming from the fact that it still looks super Christmassy. I feel like you need to push it a little bit. If you was to say skate punk style, for example, that's such a different style. Just whilst you do something like that, I'm just wondering, is there a general rule in regards to threads, like thread length? Because you sometimes get an alert that comes up after you've wrote a number of threads around a particular topic or situation, and it encourages you to start a new thread. Is there a tip around thread health?
Yeah, so it's actually, that's a great point. It's a good thing to start a new chat whenever you're talking about something slightly different. And in fact, here I might actually start a new chat so that we don't have all this conversation about converting it to a gothic style when we generate the next scene, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So
cool.
the length of the conversation is basically based on what's called the context limit or the token limit for the AI. So once it runs out of that or it runs low on that, that's when you get the warning. So what we're going to do is we're going to start a new chat, and then we're going to ask it to do the next scene's image here later on. So what we're going to do now instead is we're going to switch to a different AI. So we're going to come back to pika.art because we now have one image that we're going to use and try to turn into a video. So Pika looks a little bit different from your average chat app. It's more about generating the videos or other source of images and things like that. So it does still need a prompt, as it says here, describe your story, but you can also add images as your source input. So we're going to go to the image that we made just now. There it is. And then we're going to copy the same description again, the one that we generated previously from Copilot, talking about, the workshop at the North Pole. And again,
You're
I'm going to
using the same content over and over, recycling that same content.
That's it. And I've also got some pre-written instructions on the video side of things, right? As this, again, it's all caps just to make it a bit clear that this is really important to the AI. And for Pika, because it's generating video, it takes instructions same as like camera directions for a script or something like that. So I'm saying slow pan, minimal motion, because I don't want to tax the AI too hard on trying to generate something with lots and lots of things going on. So I'm going to hit that button and let it start. So video generation does take a little bit of time, right? So while that's happening, we're going to have a look at what previous things I've done in here, if that's all right. So I can show you some examples of, for example, this one here. As you can see, there's lots of elves in this workshop, and one of them is busy working on a teddy bear and a train set while fused within the workbench, right? So this is the kind of thing that happens when we've got too many characters doing things at the same time. So that's why you want to keep the number of characters to a minimum. So while this is still cooking, we can start moving to the next tool. So this is 11labs.io. So this is for basically voice generation. So
just
again, we're going to use...
Just with that, I keep jumping in because I know you're on a roll, but with that, the 11 Labs has an app. I highly recommend that you download it, put it on your phone, because it'll read out your text messages to you, which is pretty helpful if you got your headphones on and you're doing something, you're cooking or whatever, and you get a text message, it'll just read it out to you, which I think is pretty amazing, and you can respond to it by talking. So little tip there.
I didn't know that at all.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
That's really cool. Thanks, Dan. So yeah, I've only used it really to help me create videos. So for example, you might be doing a training video for someone at work, and you want to put a really professional narration over it. This is the kind of thing that is really well suited for 11 Labs. So I've got the little description, same description I've used so far for everything. And then now we're going to generate speech. So
the workshop glows warmly in the snowy, twinkling North Pole night, with lights strung across its roof and reindeer grazing nearby.
Could you hear that?
Yes, that was pretty cool. Can you change your voice?
Yes. So I have chosen Lily, which is one of many voices, as you can see here. So she's got it's got an English accent, British accent, and it's suited for narrations. You can also try Alice, apparently news, British, confident.
Just trust yourself, then you will know how to live.
That's scary. Doesn't feel very Christmassy.
Just trust yourself, then you will know how to live.
Yeah, so let's try it with this text.
The workshop glows warmly in the snowy, twinkling North Pole night, with lights strung across its roof and reindeer grazing nearby.
Not as good, I think.
No, yeah, I don't think so. It sounds like a news story.
Yeah.
Disaster strikes.
Yeah. Let's try Bill. Narration, American, trustworthy. I love these tags.
The workshop glows warmly in the snowy, twinkling North Pole night, with lights strung across its roof and reindeer grazing nearby.
That was all right. They're American, but...
Yes. Which there's nothing wrong with that, just to add.
Yeah.
I like the neutral female voice, to be honest.
Enough. Yep, that's all right. We'll switch back to Liddy. We'll generate that again.
The workshop glows warmly in the snowy, twinkling North Pole night, with lights strung across its roof and reindeer grazing nearby.
Looks good to me.
Yeah.
So as you can see, 7 seconds, so that's pretty good. We'll come back to why that's important in later on. Just going to move that into the right folder as well. So obviously save this where, just see if I can show that here. Yeah, so basically make sure you save them with the right name, because that's going to be really useful later on. So we've got the picture from scene 1 as well as the narration. So we're still waiting for the video to be generated. So let's come back to the topic of how long these things are, right? So the videos that we're generating here are 5 seconds each. This platform doesn't do videos that are any longer or shorter than that. So if we have a look at, as it says there, 5 seconds. So, oh, that looks pretty good, actually.
I love the real-time reaction, man.
The reindeer is moving. That's good. Nothing else that shouldn't move is moving. So it looks good to me. So I'm going to download that, and we'll have a look at how we can stretch that just a little bit longer, because we have 7 seconds of narration and we've got 5 seconds of animation. Okay, I'm just going to put that in the right folder. So what I'll do is I'll play the animation. I'll bring that over. Yeah, that actually looks pretty good.
Isn't it incredible, like how simple that is? You just create that instruction and that's the result, like super quick.
Exactly. And we started from scratch. We literally had nothing to begin with. So what I'm going to do here is one of the tricks I've learned using Pika, which is you want to take the last frame of your first 5 seconds, and then you can come back to the platform, use the same prompt as before, and then switch to the new image, which I've got right here. So you can copy the old prompt, grab the new image, and as you can see, same prompt as before, new image as our starting point, and then hit generate. And that way your second video is going to be a continuation of your first video. Right? So now essentially we have 10 seconds of footage to go with 7 seconds of narration, which will be more than enough. So now that we've looked at video generation, we've looked at all the narration that goes with it, let's talk about music. So this is Suno.com. Yeah. So Suno is all about generating music, and you can do instrumental tracks as well as voiced, like vocal tracks as well. Dan, thoughts? Christmas song to go with the video?
Well, I think it was interesting the other day when we did a test run. We did Mariah Carey, and she came up with like going over those copyright infringements. And the other day I was creating a song with my little one about because we both had school beanie hats on from this school, and I said let's create a school beanie hat about being in a gang in the style of Beastie Boys, and a flag came up saying that we can't use Beastie Boys. So I had to be super creative in terms of genre. So let's make it, let's go for Bing Crosby style. So like what would that be? 60s lounge swing, classic Christmas crooner style.
Oh, better know how to spell.
Crooner,
now,
C-R-O-O-N-E-R.
C-R-O-O. Did I get that right? Crooner, N-E-R?
Yeah, I think so. Someone will correct me.
We'll go with that. Now, last time I tried Bing Crosby, it didn't sound like him at all. We'll see how we go. Because I think we might be a little bit too old for the AI to have learned the style, unfortunately. Got to be a new TikTok thing instead, I reckon.
All right. Well, what was the TikTok thing?
That's okay. Let's have a listen before we judge.
Well, I'm just mindful of time as well. So
yes.
Snowflakes dancing on the breeze, candles flicker in the trees, silent night, sweet harmony. Magic fills the air with ease.
Can I
I'm going
make
to
a
say that's
suggestion?
okay.
Perfect.
Yes.
I think get rid of the voice though, and just have an instrumental if we've got the narration.
Exactly. So that's exactly what we're going to do. And while that's going, I'll just add very briefly that when you download the music track, you can also get a video track, which is basically just a very simple video clip, karaoke style. You get the caption rolling, you got the lyrics basically going as the song plays. It works really, really nicely. You just got to give it a little bit more time, as it says there, to get that particular video. Let's have a listen at the instrumental track. I'm happy with that. I'm going to download
I was
that
getting
one.
into that. I was going to go and get a mug of mulled wine. I was super into that.
Yeah, so we'll need to give it a second for it to finish generating, and then we can download it. In the meantime, that one's still going. We will come back to 11 Labs, and we can talk about very briefly on the sound effects. So other than generating actual voices and things like that, as you can see here, you can generate background noises. Right, so I had one for the Santa's workshop scene where Santa was basically showing the picture. I just wanted some generic, old gentleman talking sounds in the background, nothing that you can quite make out, and that seemed quite good. But we can try something a little bit different, perhaps, like a big fireplace, wood crackling, warm and cozy. Sorry, let's just go with this for a sec and see how we go.
Not too abstract.
Yes. So this gives you quite a few options to choose from when you. So unlike it's a single choice here. You can get a few options because it's not quite there yet. Definitely some crackling sounds in there. We'll take it.
For the moment, I think it's perfect, but it sounds like an inferno. Christmas
Yeah, so let's make sure we cover our last tool here. So I am using Microsoft Clipchamp, but you can use any video editing software that you'd like. And basically, they all work the same. There's no AI in this part yet. There are some AI video tools out there. Nothing that quite does what we're trying to do here. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring all of this stuff that we've made earlier in the session into the media library for a new video project. And then it's just a matter of drag and drop. All right, so we've got the animation for scene 1 right there. I've got the sound effect track underneath. And then we've got the narration track here. And then before we forget, hopefully we've got our audio track ready to go. Bring that in as well.
So other video editing platforms that you can consider, CapCut, which is pretty simple to download on iOS or Android. There's Adobe Premiere Rush. I think that's a free tool. And also, what CapCut? iMovie. So there's some other options there. All pretty simple.
Yep, thanks, Dan. So basically, we're going to turn down the sound for the sound effect. Something nice and low. We've got the narration here. We've got the snowflake and mistletoe instrumental track. So let's have a play.
The workshop glows warmly in the snowy, twinkling North Pole night, with lights strung across.
So obviously, the background music is too loud. We're going to really turn that down. Try again.
The workshop glows warmly in the snowy, twinkling North Pole night, with lights strung across its roof and reindeer.
So as you can see, at this point, it's just a matter of stacking them all together like this, right? So you've got your narration, you've got your background music, you've got the animation, and we can jump into one I've made earlier if we're interested in doing that.
I was going to say, show us something you made earlier. I always wanted
Yep.
to say that. Show us something you made earlier, Moon, and then I'll close this out.
Yep. Not that one. Merry Christmas.
Under a shimmering aurora borealis, Santa's cozy log cabin workshop, surrounded by sparkling snow and candy cane trees, stands at the heart of the North Pole. Inside the bustling workshop, cheerful elves in colourful outfits meticulously paint toy trains and assemble teddy bears on wooden workbenches. Surrounded by twinkling Christmas lights and festive decorations, Santa, with his rosy cheeks and jolly smile, enters the workshop carrying a large overflowing sack of letters from children around the world, ready to check his list twice.
Moen, that was awesome. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Hopefully everybody saw the power of those tools and what you can do. Obviously, we've just smashed everything together in about 15, 20 minutes. I reckon, do you know what would be cool if you put on that music in the background? I don't know if it will play, but the instrumental as we play our way out. But
I'll
this
give
is
it a
all
try.
see if you can. That's so cool. I don't know if it'll work. So this is all pretty simple. As always, a couple of steps here, big takeaways. Forget the technology. Start with the insight, the idea, or the intention. What happened there? What? Start with the insight, the idea. You then need to break down the stages of production. E.g., I need a story, I need visuals, it needs to move, I need some sound, and I need to stitch it all together. Then match the technology, in this case, the AI tools. There are so many out there. And this will result in some form of workflow. We have a worksheet that goes over everything covered today, very much the bones of everything. These insights, these other shares that Moen and I kind of spoke about during this demonstration. You have to rewatch this, but get in touch. Send me an email at start@morespaceforlight.com.au or DM me or Moen. Connect with us on LinkedIn if you'd like a copy of that worksheet. But I just want to say, first up, Moen, thank you so much. You're amazing. Like this just came out of a conversation from a workshop. You showed me something cool and I said, wouldn't it be cool if? And you were quite happy and curious. And I don't think you really believed that it would be in a live webinar in about 3 weeks' time later. You thought it was all hot air. So there's a key learning there for you about me. But thank you very much. We're really grateful for you coming on today and sharing this knowledge and helping us to understand. I want to just wish everybody here happy holidays, happy Monday, and enjoy the rest of your lunch, enjoy the rest of your Monday. And we look forward to more shares in 2025. Thank you very much. See you all later.
No worries, Dan, and Merry Christmas, everyone. Thank you for joining us. See ya.